Dear Mr. A&R, we all struggling artists. Realize the world is cold, but we came here to spark it. Swimming little guppies in a sea full of sharks. It's gonna take a miracle to not end up harmed.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Inside the Six with Ian and Thomas.
Hello.
A very interesting week. First week back from the October international break. God, international breaks kind of suck.
Yeah, especially for the U.S. men's team. They didn't have a terrible one this time.
It wasn't a terrible one. They did get a 7-0 win over Cuba.
It was Cuba.
And then they lost to Canada for the first time since, what was it, like 1985?
Yeah, so, 30 years, no biggie.
Yeah, they didn't really play that well against Canada. I don't know what it was. I don't know if they just spent everything they had against Cuba, or if it was just Canada's that good now. But they didn't have what it took. But in terms of Premier League this weekend, there were quite a few shaking ups. I guess would be the
Shake-ups?
shake-ups, not shaking ups. There you go. I'm stupid.
Not a hiccup, shake-up.
But very interesting results. Some that I didn't expect, some that I did expect.
And some that made me giggle.
Some that did make me giggle. I guess we'll start with the big one, the probably the biggest game of the week, the one everybody was talking about. Man United Liverpool. We'll go ahead and get that out of the way for you. It's not a terrible. It's not the worst result. It's kind of disappointing for Liverpool fans. They would have been able to break the record for the longest winning streak in Premier League history against one of their biggest rivals. And they were not able to pull out the win. They got a 1-1 draw with Man United.
Yeah. It was a pretty sloppy game from Liverpool. United looked good. I think they look better than they have in a long time. And I don't know if it's because they finally maybe have something working now that they've got some of their injured players on the bench and have somebody else out there who will actually play football. Or if it was because Liverpool looked a little shaky. They looked a little nervy. There's a little bit of a curse going there, too. Apparently, Jurgen Klopp has never beaten Manchester United at Old Trafford, ever.
He is the only... Also, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is the only manager that he has yet to beat.
Yeah.
After 2 meetings. So it's...
So we'll see. But, I mean, it was, Adam Lallana came on late. The Manchester United goal was good. I mean, they just broke down the defense.
I did see that maybe it should have been called back due to a foul.
That's part of the controversy there. The foul was so far back. I mean, it was almost the entire length of the pitch back where the foul happened. The foul did happen. It didn't get called. And I think at that point VAR is kind of out of the question
because it's entered a different phase.
There's a different phase,
and they
arguably it didn't enter a different phase. Arguably that phase began with the foul. To me, I mean, even as a Liverpool supporter, it's neither here nor there. It didn't get called. They scored the goal. Whether the foul got called or not, Liverpool had 75, 80 yards to catch up.
Yeah,
and they failed to do that. Manchester United found a hole in the defense and went for it and got their, they reaped the rewards of that. Second half, United looked a little better than they did the first half. Liverpool looked much better the second half. It was really a lot of one-way traffic. They just couldn't find the net.
None of that, and Sadio Mane did have a goal taken away from VAR.
Yeah.
I don't remember what
it was a silly handball.
That's right.
His arm was down near his thigh. The ball hit his thigh, then the arm, and then he just absolutely destroyed David De Gea, and scored a goal. But it was called back on the review for VAR.
Which, I mean, they did say that. I mean, any handball, intentional or not, leading to a goal would be called back.
Yeah. And that's
so I mean,
you can be ticked off about it. You can not be ticked off. Who cares? It got called back. It's the way it is. At that point, it was still early in the match. That was still first half.
Yeah.
Liverpool had the opportunities. Let me see if I can look at some of the stats here. Liverpool had 68% possession, 10 shots, 10 chances created, 2 big chances, 547 accurate passes.
To United's 199.
Yeah. Here's a big one, and this was something that bothered me while I was watching the game. It was 14 fouls went against Liverpool, 6 went against United. It seemed a lot, and I'm trying to be really unbiased here. And Thomas and I were talking about this the other day. I'm trying to be unbiased about it, but it seemed like a lot of the fouls that Liverpool got carded for, got called for, and even got booked for, United was getting away with. I mean, in the same run of play. Again, the result is the result. It was a 1-1 draw. They didn't get to break the record. They're still unbeaten. They're still the only unbeaten team in the league at this point. And that's one of their biggest rivals. Old Trafford has to be one of the most daunting facilities to walk into as an opponent.
100%.
Has to be. You can say the same thing about Emirates or Etihad.
No matter the form United are in as well. I mean, it's still, holy crap, this is Old Trafford. The fans are going to, I mean, we're going to hear them the entire 90 minutes.
The fans will show up. And I mean, they're passionate fans. This is a huge rivalry. They're not even located in the same city, but this match over the past several years has become way bigger than even the Merseyside derby.
And that's because of how big the two clubs have gotten.
Yeah, they're just really storied clubs, very competitive clubs. But I will say that I think Liverpool has more European championships.
Dang, you gotta drop that on them. Wow.
I whispered it, so it's okay.
Wow.
It was a tough game to watch as a Liverpool fan. They just didn't get the fluidity, and I think a lot of it was because there were so many fouls called. They really couldn't get that fancy, quick football going. Adam Lallana came on late, I think about the 70th or 80th minute. Made a pretty big impact.
Scored
He scored the
goal.
equalizer.
So,
and it was just Adam Lallana being Adam Lallana, and we've not been able to see that for a couple of years because he's been absolutely riddled with injury. It's good to see him back. And even at the end of the match, they had the interview with Jordan Henderson and Adam Lallana, and Jordan Henderson, said how good it was to have Adam Lallana back because of his skill and his ability, almost Eden Hazard-ish, with his ability to create chances out of almost nothing, which that one was. I mean, I think there was even a save involved. It just ricocheted, and Adam Lallana was right there to finish it, in the 85th minute.
I guess we'll stay with the Merseyside clubs. Everton got their first win in a while.
So they're out of the relegation zone.
They are out of the relegation zone
by 2 points.
2 points. They're 16th?
15th.
15th. They did beat West Ham. They were two.
Everton should have walked all over West Ham.
Yeah. Everton, it's a good step up for Everton. It's definitely something they needed. They need the points. They need the morale boost. Marco Silva keeps his job for at least another week.
And that was actually even mentioned during the broadcast. That the way Everton were playing, I forget which one of the, we watch NBC Sports, so they've got Rebecca Lowe and the Robbies, and they were talking about it and said that they played like a team who believed in their manager. And that's something that Thomas and I have talked about over and over and over the past year or so, that when Marco Silva left Watford, just kind of dumped them off and moved to Everton, I think the players didn't believe in him.
Yeah.
Maybe that's changed. I didn't see it last week or the week before. So maybe something happened in the international break, or maybe they realized, holy crap, our manager's about to get sacked. Maybe we ought to do something because we don't want to have to retrain another one.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Do they believe in their manager? I don't know. I still don't think so. I think they just played an inferior team.
Yeah, nothing against West Ham. West Ham's not a terrible team.
No.
That's a game that Everton should win.
Everton should win.
And that's a game that Everton should win comfortably.
Even though West Ham's in 11th place right now.
But I think Everton had a pretty firm grasp on that game. from the start.
Yeah. And Richarlison is just becoming more and more dangerous.
Oh, absolutely.
More and more dangerous.
Very excited to see him, and I'm also kind of excited to see Moise Kean. He came on pretty late this game, but Moise Kean is a very young star. He's on the short list for the Golden Boy Awards, so he's going to be something special as long as he can be groomed by the right coach.
And I think he needs to get somebody to talk to him about. I still think, just look at his body language and his facial expressions and stuff on the pitch. I think he still has just kind of a prima donna attitude. Like nobody should be allowed to touch him. Nobody should be allowed to interfere with him scoring a goal. And it's. I mean, it doesn't have anything to do with his skill. His skill is top notch.
Yeah, I mean, he's 19, so he's still got that kind of, I'm young and I'm already, playing for, a big team. I'm on top of the world. Nobody can stop me. Kind of mentality.
He's kind of that bulletproof mentality right
and
now.
I mean, he came from Juventus, probably a much better team than Everton. I'm sorry if you're an Everton supporter. Juventus is going to kick your butt all day.
I think so.
The reason he left is because there were so many other players older than him with more experience who were getting more playing time, and he wanted to go somewhere to get playing time. 100% reasonable.
Sure.
Perfect choice.
Absolutely.
Go to a smaller club, get some playing time, but still stay on, a top stage because he does have that talent. But like I said, I'm very excited to see how he progresses over the next couple seasons. Maybe he'll stay with Everton. I don't know if he'll leave and maybe find a different club where he maybe feels that he fits better. I
think he fits in really well at Everton.
He's fitting in pretty well.
He's definitely their star right now. And he's absolutely, once he matures just a little bit more, he's going to be deadly. And if he stays around and he gets that right maturity, and like you said, he gets that proper grooming from the proper coach, he's going to be one of the legends. I think. I think he's that good already. Remains to be seen.
Yeah. We'll move on to probably one of the most exciting matches of the week. Aston Villa versus Brighton. One of the big news of that game was Aaron Moy getting 2 yellow cards within 5 minutes. That's not something you usually see of Aaron Moy. He's usually a pretty calm head on the pitch.
He's a beast. I mean, he'll run at you and he'll take you out, but he doesn't usually do it cynically. In the 30th minute, he got his first one. In the 35th minute, he was sent off for a second yellow. Not typical Aaron Moy behavior. How much do you think that changed the complexion of the game? Because at that point, they were up 1-0.
I think it hurt Brighton. It hurt Brighton a lot because it changes the mentality. It changes the tactics. Within 7 minutes afterwards, there was a goal ruled out for Aston Villa. And then right before halftime, Jack Grealish was able to pull one back. That's within 10 minutes of that red card. You have a goal ruled out and then an actual goal that stands from the opposing team. It definitely hurt their mentality, hurt their tactics, and hurt them overall.
Sure.
Coming back from halftime, you can tell that they were a little bit more poised. They're like, okay, we're going to deal with this red card. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to, they took the halftime break to kind of figure things out, and it worked really, really well. But Aston Villa kept pushing and kept driving that nail home. And the 90th plus 4, Jack Grealish, an amazing, amazing play. Instead of going down like a lot of young players would do, he was able to get the pass off to find Matt Targett and get that goal in. And it was brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. Very, very mature play from a young player to say, no, I'm not going to, dive for this foul. I'm not going to go down. I see this open pass.
Yeah.
We're going to win from this and make that play. Again, very mature, very poised to be able to see that and keep playing.
And it's the right decision.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're gonna go down in the box hoping for a penalty, you're taking a pretty big chance that it's not going to get called. If you see an open pass where okay, listen, Target's over there, I'm just going to put the ball in his path and let him finish this, and then we're over and done with, instead of gambling on maybe a penalty. It's the right decision. Look for the pass, get the goal you know is going to count, instead of the one that you have a chance at taking a shot at. And there's a lot of strikers out there who really need to learn that. And I will tell you straight up, I know there's Tottenham fans out there. Harry Kane is one of those. If he would learn to stay on his feet and take a shot, he would score more goals. But he always, as soon as someone touches him, and I don't care where you touch him, you hit him in the face, he grabs his left ankle. And that's why nothing gets called for him, because everybody knows that he's looking for an open swimming pool. He is a diver. He's not a striker. He's a diver. And there's other ones out there. I'm not just picking on Harry Kane because he's Harry Kane, but he's Harry Kane, and that's why I pick on him.
That's fair.
Did you make sense of that?
Yeah, mostly.
But yeah, Jack Grealish, he's a young guy.
I'm very excited for him as well.
League. Yeah, me too. He's been in the Premier League. He's been relegated. Now he's back in the Premier League, and he's making a name for himself at West Ham. Or I mean, at Aston Villa.
He's the captain right now. He has been since the beginning of the season, and he's made some mistakes. It's to be expected. I've heard a lot of commentators and a lot of people say, he shouldn't be making these mistakes. He's the captain.
That's not why he's the captain, because
young.
He's perfect.
This is a young team. They're newly promoted. They're going to make mistakes.
Yeah. And perfection is not what gets you the captain's armband. It's leadership, and it's the work rate, the creativity, and just the willingness to put it all on the line in order to get 3 points at the end of a match. That's what gets you the captain's armband. It's not, well, this guy never makes mistakes. Because the guy on the bench doesn't make any mistakes for 90 minutes. How come he's not the captain? So that's not how you get the captain's armband.
Yeah.
So
and it's working for them. Villa are in 12th right now. After 9 games, they have 11 points. But that's 12th. They're a point ahead of United and Everton.
So they're doing okay.
They're doing pretty good for themselves.
One of the things, we've said more than once how crazy this season is. I mean, if you look at the table right now, there are teams mid-table who are generally bottom of the table. There's teams that are top. Leicester City is in 3rd place behind Manchester City right now.
Also, there are 3 points.
And have been there for more than 1 week.
There are 3 points between 7th place Tottenham and 16th place Brighton. That's how close everything is.
So already, after week 9, it's already all out there. I mean, every point is going to count for the next 30 matches, 29 matches. They're all going to count. No one at this point is really running away with it. Liverpool's got a pretty good lead. Their lead got kind of chipped down a little bit. They dropped 2 points to United, but Manchester City won. Against Palace. So it kind of chipped away their lead a little bit, but it's still there. It's still a solid 6 points. That's a 2-game lead. But they've got Manchester City breathing down their neck. Yep. Leicester City is making a run out. They're only 2 points behind City.
Yeah. Leicester have been on target all season.
Chelsea's climbing up there. Arsenal tried to climb and got kicked off the ladder
by Sheffield
United,
which I called it, but
he did. Saturday night, we were talking about one of the matches, and he kind of giggled. He goes, "How funny would it be if Sheffield United beat Arsenal?" I said, "That would make my weekend." And it's Tuesday as of this recording. Yesterday that match was played. I watched it last night, and that was all Sheffield. It was all one-way traffic until probably the last 15 minutes. Arsenal started pushing a little bit, but they still didn't have many shots.
Yeah, it was...
Sheffield outplayed Arsenal. Arsenal need to go back to their stadium, and they need to sit in the dressing room, and they need to talk to each other about how ashamed they should be about how they played. They are Arsenal. They're a North London legend. They've been around for a jillion years.
They had 69% possession.
69% possession, and couldn't put one in the net. It was...
Which,
if I was an Arsenal fan, I'd be embarrassed.
Yeah, it shows how disciplined Sheffield was, how defensively brilliant they were.
Yeah.
We're going to sit back. We know we can take this pressure.
They were well drilled.
And as soon as they get that pressure, boom, on the counter. And when they did get the ball, they held it for quite a bit.
Yeah.
when the parts that I saw, unfortunately I wasn't able to watch the whole game. I did see the goal. It was a pretty good goal. It seemed like Sheffield had Arsenal on the ropes. It seemed like Arsenal was attacking on the counter.
And they were. They really were.
I mean,
they were playing balls over the top, just trying to get forward because Sheffield had the midfield under control.
Yeah, it was one of those things that I've said it over and over again about teams who aren't playing how they should. It's not consistent enough. Arsenal got a 1-0. Who they played 2 weeks ago? Bournemouth. They got that 1-0 win against Bournemouth.
Yeah.
From a goal from David Luiz. I'm sorry.
They have a center half scoring the winning goal.
You have Alexander Lacazette, who was out injured, Aubameyang, and $72 million Nicolas Pepe, who missed a wide open shot against Sheffield.
Didn't even make contact with the ball.
Completely whiffed.
Inside the 6-yard box. He missed the ball.
Like,
all he had to do was touch it, and it was going to go in.
I know, as a goalkeeper, like, we're trained to kind of intimidate attackers in that situation. Dean Henderson's not that scary of a dude. I'm sorry, he's got baby face.
And he was beat.
Oh, absolutely.
He was beat. If Pepe had just touched that ball, Henderson was beat.
Dean Henderson was already in full outstretch, just trying to make himself big to block what he could.
Yeah.
That is the first sign that a goalkeeper is beat. He is in a stage of, there's nothing I can do. I'm just going to basically flail myself out there, hope I get something.
And just be as big as I possibly can.
And I just, when I saw that, I was like, for the amount that they paid for you, you can't miss that.
And he's an exciting player. I'm not taking anything away from Pepe. Pepe is a good player. And very exciting player. He's very talented. I think he's worth the money. I just think with the money they spent, he should not have missed that shot. I mean, that's really the only chink in the armor I'm looking at right now, and I don't want to put a magnifying glass on that and make it bigger than it really is. But he should have scored that goal. Yeah. Arsenal should have played better. Like I said, they were outdone by Sheffield. Sheffield was well disciplined, well organized, and had their heads together. They put their plan of action into place, and it worked. They weren't just playing, let's sit back and absorb the pressure as long as we can, hope we can hit them on the counterattack. They made Arsenal do that.
Yeah.
They had Arsenal pinned back. They couldn't even get out of their own half for a lot of play. I don't want to say the majority of it, but there was a lot of time that Arsenal was pinned into their own half and ended up, like I said, just having to put long balls over the top, hoping to get out. And it never worked. Aubameyang, not one of my favorite players. He's talented, but he's not one of my favorite players. There was one that if he would have just maybe tried just a little harder, he probably would have at least had a shot on goal. But it looked lazy to me. Like, we'll get it later. And I'm telling you, Arsenal had chances. And I think at this point, they're looking at those chances and going, dang it, we should have. Yeah, you should have. You're Arsenal. And I'm not taking anything at all away from Sheffield United. They looked great.
They deserve that win.
Absolutely.
100%.
Absolutely. Lys Mousset, it was a good goal. Yeah.
And when his celebration, it wasn't, go to the supporters, celebrate with his team. He ran over to his manager and hugged him like, hey, thank you. Yeah. Like, thanks for bringing me here. Thanks for giving me this chance. Like, I appreciate you giving me these opportunities. Here's my little bit of payback. Like, you trusted me. I score goals.
Yeah. I hope I can do more for you.
Which, I don't know. I love stuff like that. But
I do too. I mean, that tells me that player's bought in to the manager's plans, and he's ready to play. And he's ready to put everything out there for him. And his manager is going to trust him more and more and more, which is just going to make that bond even better, which is going to make that player better. It's going to make that team better.
But Bournemouth and Norwich played to a 0-0 draw. Both teams' first clean sheets of the season.
Interesting stat on a 0-0 draw.
Chelsea were able to put one over Newcastle. Chelsea definitely had the upper hand in that game. Disappointed they didn't score more goals. Newcastle were very strong defensively, as they have been all season. They're continuing their siege mentality. Unfortunately, they just don't have the attack to back it up. They had a couple really good chances. I know Saint Maximin, I believe his name is. He was a fantastic, Alan Saint Maximin, fantastic forward until he was pulled out in the 85th minute. He was probably Newcastle's best attacking threat that entire game, and he had a fantastic match. It was Marcos Alonso who scored the goal, and it was an assist from Callum Hudson-Odoi, who I'm very excited is back from injury. He was very, very, very exciting at the beginning towards the middle of last season, and he went out with an injury. And I'm very happy that he's finally back. He's gone through recovery, and Frank Lampard's like, look, I see your talent. You're a young guy. You fit perfectly in with my plans. Get out there. Let's do this. Yeah. He brought Christian Pulisic on, which in my opinion led to the goal.
I agree.
Christian Pulisic's work with Willian out on that right side was able to get a nice run right outside the box for Pulisic, get that ball over across. Hudson-Odoi tapped it to Marcos Alonso, who fired it past Dubravka into the net. Brilliantly worked goal.
And Marcos Alonso had to deal with 90 minutes of being booed by Newcastle fans.
Simply because he played a couple games out on loan for Sunderland.
And it didn't seem to faze him a single bit.
Oh, absolutely not.
He's one of my favorites.
He's a professional.
He's a professional, and I think I've said this I don't know how many times, but he's a very underrated player because his work rate is always there. He's had down days here and there, but his work rate's always there. He's always creative. He's got a nose for goal, and he knows how to get an attack started, and he's not afraid to try it.
For a while, it seemed like Emerson had taken his position, and Emerson went out with an injury one game, and he hasn't come back. I don't remember if he's still injured or not, but it's one of those things. My personal opinion, I would much rather have Marcos Alonso out there. He's a little bit older. He has that attacking prowess to him. He's a fantastic defender, and he's got
that word
maturity. That's the word.
Yeah,
he's a little bit more mature.
And like you said, he's a professional.
Emerson
he's a true
is
professional.
Still out injured.
Yeah. I think Chelsea should have had a couple more there, but Newcastle, really, like you said, the siege mentality. They really just defended well. They don't have an attack. They brought Christian Pulisic on, and you could see the atmosphere of the game change. I mean, this was at Stamford Bridge.
Yeah.
And you could still see there was a little frustration from the Chelsea fans going, why aren't we scoring more? Because I think they should have.
Well, and they've kind of gotten used to that over the past couple games. I mean, the last couple games, Tammy Abraham, Mason Mount have gone to town scoring goals.
Yeah, Tammy Abraham had a couple of shots, but I think he was more peripheral.
He got very unlucky a couple times.
Yeah, he hit framework.
He hit framework a couple times. He had one. Pulisic put a ball in, and Tammy Abraham just had to pass it in, and a Newcastle defender slid in from nowhere and got a touch on it. I mean, even Abraham, he started celebrating, and as soon as he saw the ball go out, he turned and looked at Pulisic like, what happened?
He had no idea what
How?
happened. He knew nothing about the defense. Somebody could have
like
shot man on, but it was a little late.
Well, I mean, I don't think you can really shot man on from him. This guy came from, another continent. He was so fast.
He slid 40 feet in front of him. It was great defending.
But yeah, I think Abraham just got unlucky.
Yeah,
in this
I think so too. But I mean, I think it made him a little peripheral in this game. It really changed when Pulisic came on.
Oh, absolutely.
So next,
I lost it. Where is it?
I don't know. Where'd you get lose to that?
Where he said
Tottenham, Watford.
Leicester put 1-2-1 over Burnley. As to
keep them in third place.
Wolves 1-1 with Southampton. Kind of a disappointing game.
It was. I expected better from Wolves.
Yeah, I expect more from them. I don't know if Europa League's too much, or if something's just changed. The players just aren't buying it anymore.
I think it's got to be Europa League.
That has to be it because Nuno is a fantastic manager. I mean, especially coming off their win over City 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. And then to struggle a little bit against Southampton. Now, Southampton looked pretty good. Ralph Hasenhüttl still got those guys working. They don't look as good as they did.
They're not consistent. Again, that word comes up
the
again.
consistency.
It's one of those things. It's got to be brought back up.
Yeah,
They've got to get that consistency.
I really expected more from Wolves in that one. They got a late equalizer to kind of save the point for Nuno, but and it was kind of the same with Tottenham. A late equalizer. They went down real early against Watford at White Hart Lane, which I guess is not called White Hart Lane anymore.
Yeah, I thought it was like the new White Hart Lane. I guess
apparently it's Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. I don't know, which is dumb.
No wonder
they built it on the side of the old one. Call it White Hart Lane.
Yeah, no wonder they're losing so much. They
don't even know what to call their
destroyed their
stadium.
own culture.
But yeah, they went down early against Watford and struggled to get back against Watford. It's a little embarrassing.
And the goal that they did score, I mean, it had to be clarified with VAR. And even it was kind of funny in the stadium, the VAR check on the board said no goal, and everybody's like, "What are you talking about? How is that not a goal?"
Dele Alli was like, "Why? Why?"
I mean,
they had the wrong.
It was a goal.
Yeah.
I mean, it was the who was it? Mike Dean in the center.
Yeah, I think so.
No, sorry, it's Chris Kavanaugh.
Oh yeah,
in the center. He made the right call, but yeah.
It was just the graphics. Whoever was in charge of the graphics at the stadium just pushed the wrong button. Pushed the no goal button instead of the goal button. The crowd was about to lose their minds. Dele Alli was absolutely almost livid, and he should have been,
Yeah.
But they cleared it up.
Looking at the I guess the big teams and where they're at in the table right now. Liverpool at 25 out of 9 games, which is quite a lot. City with 19, Leicester with 17, Chelsea with 17, 3 goals in below Leicester, so that's the only thing keeping them apart right now. Arsenal with 15, Tottenham is in 7th with 12, and then we'll look at United and Everton with 10 in 14th and 15th.
And Everton's got a -5 goal differential. And I'm going to blame their defense on that. I will not blame Jordan Pickford for a -5 differential.
Absolutely.
He is one of the best keepers in the world. They should not be -5.
Yep.
So, Marco Silva's got some work to do with his boys in the back line. And maybe even the midfield. But
we'll see.
Joel Matip just signed a long-term extension with Liverpool. So Big Joel gets to stick around in the Reds for a little bit longer, which I'm glad about. He's not as consistent as I'd like him to be, but he's still a good defender.
They released the 30-man shortlist for the Ballon d'Or. This is the first time in history that the previous winner does not make the 30-man shortlist the year after. Luka Modric is not on the list.
That kind of stinks. I mean, he's Real Madrid is really struggling right now. What's their goalkeeper's name?
Courtois.
Yeah, Thibaut Courtois, not having a good season.
Look, you know there's going to be a lot of goals scored when you see Messi come out on the pitch, Ronaldo come out on the pitch, Lewandowski on the pitch, or Courtois on the pitch.
That's beat. Anyway, that's all I have.
It's pretty.
But, I have nodding now.
And with that Ballon d'Or shortlist, they also released the there's like a goalkeeper award shortlist, and then there's the Golden Boy shortlist. And I know there's quite a few Premier League players on both of those as well. So that's all I got.
That's it. Well, thanks for watching Inside the Six with Ian and Thomas. We appreciate it. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell so you get notifications. Check out the t-shirt shop. All the links are there. Check out the links to our good friend Macrophonic MC. His links are there too. He's a very talented artist. It's his music you hear at the intro and the outro. Check that stuff out. It's really cool. He's a good dude. And thanks to Thomas. He does all the editing, production, uploading.
We will be live again soonish. I'm working on it.
Still having some technical issues there, and we'll figure it out.
I'm trying to work it around my school schedule and my work schedule, and it's hard.
Well,
but I'll figure it out.
A software upgrade, and nobody knows what's up.
It messed everything up.
Anyway, but we will.
Thanks, OBS.
Yeah, we will see you again. Yeah, thanks, OBS. It's good software. We like it.
Give my presets back.
But we'll see you guys again next week. Thanks for watching.
Thanks, guys.
Dear Mr. A&R, we all struggling artists. Realize the world is cold, but we came here to spark it. Swimming little guppies in a sea full of sharks. It's gonna take a miracle to not end up hard.